This is a warning. The Grim Reaper of radio, Bob Romanik, with his off-the-record show is about to air. He's probably the nastiest and craziest son of a bitch that you've ever had the misfortune to encounter. The Grim Reaper show will be very controversial and probably quite tasteless. If you are even slightly offended by controversial matter concerning religion, racial matters, politics, or life's problems, you are hereby warned to turn this program off immediately. The Grim Reaper show will be, like his face, very scary and very ugly. At this time, not proudly, but shamefully presents to you Bob Romanik, the craziest son of a bitch on the radio today.
This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio. And we are, as always, proud to be the Patriot. Once again, people, you don't like what I say, turn the damn radio off. I haven't been on my medication for a couple weeks. And actually, I feel a lot better about myself. There for a while, I was going to try to be a little bit politically correct. It's like being a little bit of a whore. You know, either you're a whore or you're not a whore. So you either got to be politically correct or not. And I tried to waver back and forth, and I thought, well, maybe I'll say it this way and not offend this person. And then maybe I'll do this way and not offend that person. Then I thought, why the hell am I changing my life for these idiots out here? You can kiss my ass, you political bastards. I don't give a damn. And Amika, you Rika like crap Hicks, you can kiss my ass. You can't. You got to get a pen and a piece of paper, and you're going to have to make a little flow chart here. You know what I mean? Because it's flowing. This ignorant bitch, with the advice and consent, I believe, of Eddie the Gerbil Jackson, her daddy. You know, it's awful strange. They all live in one little house on St. Louis Avenue. Amika, her kids, her dad, her husband, her daddy, her mommy, or whatever. I mean, something doesn't sound right to me. But anyway, a lot of changes are happening, and you'll hear it right here first from Bob Romanik, as you always do. And we'll talk about that momentarily. Let's get just a little bit of our housekeeping out of the way. St. Elizabeth's Church, they're having their picnic in Marine, Illinois. It's a family-style chicken dinner. It's Sunday, July the 26th. Tickets are sold until 6 p.m. Serving begins at 11 a.m. Adults $10, children $4. They're going to have carryouts, attendance prizes. If you need any additional information, you can call 618-977-8139. I'm trying to see what else they got. That's it. St. Elizabeth's Church Picnic in Marine, Illinois, coming up this Sunday, July the 26th. And again, people, send whatever you can send out to us if we can get to it. And we try to get to all of our organizational benefits, religious, guarantee you, military, any patriotic activities going on, please give us a call. You can pick me up on iTunes. Type in Bob Romanik and or the Grim Reaper of Radio. You can go to our streaming site, insanebroadcasting.com. One word, common spelling for all three of our great stations. WQQX, our Fox Sports affiliate, if you like sports, 1490. The best in the golden oldies at KZQZ, 1430 AM. And right here at KQQZ, 1190 AM for the best cool, killer, classic country, and probably the worst talk show host, but that's okay. Hey, I'm trying my best. That's all I can do. It's like, well, I won't go there. You can hear my repeat performance every day at 4 o'clock p.m. And also, I'm broadcasting from the graveyard to the graveyard shift every night, Monday through Friday, at the stroke of midnight. On this date, On this date, July the 14th, 1798, the first direct federal tax on the states on dwellings, land, and slaves started. July the 14th. They started taxing us back in 1798. July the 14th, 1845. Fire in New York City destroyed 1,000 homes and killed many people. July the 14th, 1850. The first public demonstration of ice made by refrigeration. On this date, July the 14th, 1853, the first U.S. World's Fair opened in Crystal Palace, New York. On this date, July the 14th, 1881, outlaw William H. Bonney Jr., a.k.a. Billy the Kid, was shot and killed by Sheriff Pat Garrett in Fort Summer, New Mexico. On this date, July the 14th, 1891, the corkboard was patented by John T. Smith. I don't know why I circled that one. I thought it said some other kind of board, but never mind. On this date, July the 14th, 1927, the first commercial airplane flight arrived in Hawaii. On this date, July the 14th, 1966, serial killer Richard Speck murdered 8 student nurses in a Chicago dormitory. On this date, July the 14th, 1969, the United States $500,000, $5,000, and $10,000 bills were officially withdrawn from circulation. This was July the 14th, 1969. You know, with the way the inflated economy's going, they ought to bring back the $500 bill or the $1,000 bill. Remember back in the day you had a $100 bill? Hey, I can't cash that. Now if you go buy something, it's $80, $90 anyway. So they need to recirculate at least the $500 and $1,000 bills. That's what happened on this date, July the 14th, throughout all these years in our world's history. I'm going to start off with East St. Louis, but stick around because I'm going up to Belleville with this gentleman that was arrested so many times and the state's attorney being the great state's attorney. And again, I like Brendan Kelly, good family man, but he's just not doing right, and he's coming up for re-election. It appears to me that he'd actually try to do a little bit better. But before we go, let's go around the city. Another pizza eatery in Belleville was robbed. You know, they robbed the Emo's Pizza down by the fairgrounds a couple nights ago. Now 3 men were wearing black hoodies with white masks covering their faces. They robbed the Domino's Pizza at 40th and West Main. Now, you idiot, pussy boy, Mayor of Belleville, Mark Pussy Boy Eckert. Yeah, Belleville's safe. Belleville's safe if you stay in your basement and you lock your doors and you never come out. That's the only time Belleville's safe. And for you idiots, you no-count rotten bastard, for you to tell people it's safe, for them to let their guard down, you're a no-good son of a bitch, Eckert. But Eckert's got his car. Somebody told me they saw him driving around in the police car, went out to a funeral to visit someone at a funeral home, and the big lard-ass son of a bitch got his ass stuck in that police car. You know, that police car that he's taken out of service for himself, that police car that could have another policeman in patrolling the streets. They said they had to get the fire department out there to cut his ass out of that car, that he was so big, fat-ass bastard. And if that's not true, Mark Pussy Boy Eckert, the mayor of Belleville, Illinois, give me a call and defend yourself, you stupid, rotten bastard. And you know what? Hey, people, you're going to have a beautiful new police station here very soon. And anytime these politicians push for new construction, it's because at the end of the day, the people that do the constructions are going to be so thankful. Come time for an election, there's going to be a lot of money donated back. That's been the vicious cycle, that cycle of corruption for all these years in politics. But the good people of Belleville and the people that don't live in Belleville, that come to Belleville, you're never going to be safe. Instead of taking that money and putting more police officers on the street for protection of the good people of Belleville, Illinois, no, this fat-ass, ignorant bastard wants to have a pretty police station. Well, a pretty police station isn't going to scare away the ugly criminals. You stupid bastard. It pisses me off. Does it not? You good people in Belleville, and even the people that travel through Belleville. What the hell do you need a new police station for? Most of your officers in a town like Belleville, like it was back in the day when I was an East St. Louis policeman, we spent our time out on the street patrolling. We spent our time out on the street trying to stop crime. We spent our time out on the street arresting the bad guys. We didn't give a damn. Hell, we had broken chairs. We didn't care. We were hardly ever in there. But see, that's going to be the legacy of Mark Pussy Boy Eckert. 20 years down the road, he's going to say, look at, I'm the one that put this police department up. I'm the one that put this pretty police department. Cost the taxpayers $2 or $3 million of wasted money, even more than that. I don't know how many millions. But, you know, Mark Pussy Boy Eckert, as you're driving down the street and you're bragging years from now about that pretty police station, you'll also be able to, you can take the credit for that. But you must take the blame for all the bodies that are going to be laying around in the alleys, in the streets, in the fields, because of someone like you. And Mark, Sweet Cakes Kern, that bastard was the mayor before you. You guys have destroyed this whole town. And you can take credit for that new police station. But again, the blood of the people of Belleville is on your hands, Mark Pussy Boy Eckert, because you have failed. You have failed in your number one obligation to protect and serve the good people of Belleville. And then we got another politician, ex-politician in the news. Ex-Allerton mayor's home is vandalized. Joanne Reed. You know Joanne Reed? And she says, now this is how egregious these bastards get. Said she has her suspicions on who may have done the break-in. It was a political attack from someone in Allerton. Couldn't it not just been someone that needed your television, that needed something? See, these bastards all want to be the victims. It's all about politics. And I just hope, ex-Mayor Joanne Reed, that they didn't steal your most prized possession, that nappy, snappy wig that you wear all the time. Sometimes she wears it a little crooked in it, and you can only see one eye. But she's got a nappy. Oh, wait a minute. I said nappy and black. That's not going to get it. See, and people, you can't be politically correct. Because you make one person happy, you'll piss one person off. But Joanne Reed, what a piece of crap. She sold out to Curtis McCall. But here's what I think's going to happen. I think old Joanne now is going to have a reason, because I was told she's going to move out of Allerton anyway and move into Cahokia. So I understand, Joanne, why the pace is being set. And if I'm wrong, you ignorant bitch. Now I have to say ignorant black bitch because she's black. I don't want to discriminate and just call Amika, Eureka like crap, Jackson Hicks a black bitch. I've called many white women bitches. I've called many white men and black men bitches. Again, it's an attitudinal thing. So don't anybody try to intimidate me and say, you can't do that. The hell you can't. And these people have put themselves in the limelight. If they didn't want to be there, they never should have gotten elected. Also, I want to say thank you, Kent Pettit. Hi, Bob. I've become a big fan of yours since I began listening last November. I deeply appreciate your perspective and your defense of our American freedoms. Kent, thank you very much, and I'll defend our American freedoms till the day that I die. I'll defend our freedoms for my worst enemy, because everyone that lives in this great country should have the freedoms. So I deeply appreciate your perspective. You are a tremendous encouragement to me. Again, Kent, thank you very much. I hadn't heard you talk about this, but I thought it might be interesting to bring it up. The city council in Memphis, Tennessee, they voted last week to dig up the remains of a legendary Confederate general, Nathan Bedford Forrest, and his wife, keeping in step with the harebrained hysteric over the Confederate flag. Now, unbelievable, and I'm reading it here. Now, how egregious can you get? This guy's been buried for 110 years, and now they're gonna uproot his bones? How sacrilegious is that? And I'm not a real religious guy. Hey, let the poor guy die. When are you people, both black and white, when are you going to quit this crap about this Confederate flag? You've heard me talk about it. Why is a symbol so dangerous? The symbol's not dangerous. What a symbol means to me, I look at something, it may mean something totally different to you. That Confederate flag may mean hatred to you as a black person or a white person who didn't like slavery, and I didn't like slavery. And that's what that flag meant to me. But it may have meant Southern heritage to somebody else. So I can't take somebody's thoughts out of their head. I can't take somebody's feelings out of their heart, because I don't want anybody taking anything out of my head, because I have little in there to take. And I don't want them taking anything out of my heart. I'd like to find it first. But I'm being very facetious, but you understand what I'm saying, people? Just because a symbol means something bad to someone doesn't mean it means something bad to everyone. That's why there's not one color car in the parking lot, a Chevy, a black Chevy. Everybody has a right to think how they want, to feel how they want, but to now going to dig up a grave. And I still say, if you guys against this Confederate flag are true to yourselves and the belief that you're fighting for, everything with George Washington needs to come down. We need to blow up Mount Rushmore. We need to take his name off Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, but nobody wants to address that. But it's the same premise. That Confederate flag never owned a slave. George Washington owned 350 slaves. Also, Steve Allen, Chief of Villa Hills, thanks for your comments. This situation with Freeburg, the midgets, I got a little bit of flack. I say, why would you tell those midgets to grow up? Because they should grow up. If they can't grow up physically, they need to grow up mentally. Let me change in the name. And I had several people from Freeburg contact me, and they thanked me. Because you know I'm right. If they want to change something in Freeburg, the little people, the fidgets as I call them, let them move to Freeburg. Why do people want to dictate to everybody else? Why do people want to dictate what you do in your life and what I do in my life? They sure don't want everything dictated to them in their lives. A gentleman sent me this, and I'll try to go over it momentarily, about teams' names. He says the Carolina Panthers obviously were named to keep the memory of the militant blacks from the 60s alive. You remember the Panthers, the Black Panthers? It's offensive to us white folks. Another one. Hold on, bear with me. As a die-hard Oregon State fan, my wife and I suggested it might also make some sense to change the name of the Oregon State's women's athletic teams to something other than the Beavers. The Beavers. It says, especially when they play South California, do we really want the Trojans? Now, I can't believe that. Southern California Trojans. They named it after a prophylactic, but it says Southern California, we don't want the Trojans, sticking it to the Beavers. And that's how stupid this whole thing about changing the name in Freeburg. Again, I think if the Freeburg people thought that midgets were derogatory to them or to the small people, they would have never used that name. I think using that name is a sign of endearment. But you get everybody wants to be politically correct, and we always can't be politically correct. The guy says the New York Giants and the San Francisco Giants promote obesity. And I guess it could be. The Milwaukee Brewers. Goes without saying, it sends the wrong message to our kids about drinking. And what about the glorified criminals who raped and pillaged all these years in our past history? And we're talking about the horrible Oakland Raiders, the Minnesota Vikings. Remember what the Vikings did? Remember your history? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, they were criminals. And never forget the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know what pirates did? They killed our Navy, people in our Navy. They stole ships. But that's how stupid we can get on a name change. And always remember, Growing older is always mandatory. Growing up is optional. And I think some of us need to grow up because we need help. We don't need help growing old, but we definitely need help growing up. Come back. We're going to talk about East St. Louis, about business not as usual. You no-count ignorant bitch. You're going to say, and I'm going to apologize to Amika Eureka like crap Jackson Hicks, the newly elected mayor of East St. Louis. She did not lie when she says it's not going to be business as usual. It's going to be even worse. So get your scorecard together. When we come back, I'm going to try to lay this out, and it's unbelievable. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, and proud to be your First Amendment and all-American station, Radical Radio. And we stand tall as the Patriot.
From KQQZ 1190 AM, St. Louis, Missouri, USA, you're listening to Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of radio.
This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, your guardian of the First Amendment, Radical Radio, and we are, as always, proud to be the Patriot. Always remember, we are America's voice of freedom, and we definitely are proud to be the Patriot. Call toll-free anytime, 1-888-394-1430. On the east side, 394-1190. You can chime in anytime, anywhere, because your voice is just as important as mine and everybody else's in this great country of ours. Real quick, I see here, lack of budgets threatens cut at East St. Louis Health District. And I used to work for the health district, and I feel bad for the people who are getting cut, losing their jobs. But everybody is going to get hurt. But what really pisses me off, this hypocritical, no-count, low-life, good-for-nothing son of a bitch, Mark Sweet Cakes Kern, the county board chairman. By virtue of being the county board chairman, he's also a member of the East St. Louis Health District board. He says here, Kern says, it's all about politics. Well, hell, Kern, you idiot. You're sitting in a political position. It's always about politics, but you're not going to say that when you screw something up. You're not going to say that when something goes bad on your end. But he's got the audacity, Mark Sweet Cakes Kern, to say it's all about politics. Sure it is. And he says these services provided here are absolutely necessary. I agree with you, Kern. Why don't you take some of that $1 million that your daddy give you that you never worked for, you little rich boy bitch? Why don't you take some of that money and help the East St. Louis Health District? I know you give $10,000, $15,000 so your hairy-ass white bitch, Mrs. Kern, can be on the executive board of the NAACP, and I'll get into that some other time. That's some bad crap. You've got all that money to throw around, Kern. Give some to the good people of East St. Louis. Put your money where your mouth is, you little bitch bastard. And then he says, all things will cease without the governor's cooperation, Kern stated. You piece of total crap. What about the state legislature, the Senate, the state Senate, all the state representatives? You guys, the Democrats, have the supermajority, Kern, and you're talking about all things will cease without the governor's cooperation? How can you say that with a straight face? It's been your boys in Springfield, the Democrats, that have held this state in limbo for all these years. Spin, year after year. And we don't care about a budget. Spend, spend, spend. And now that Rauner's elected, and I'm not pimping because he's a Republican. He needs the opportunity to try to do right. And you can't get this budgetary crisis under control unless everybody is going to hurt a little bit. But for you to make this strictly a political thing, Kern, why don't you make it a moral thing, an ethical thing? Work with the governor and do what's right. You and the people in Springfield. No, you're not going to do that because everybody's worried about self-perpetuating themselves. And let me do a little side note. I still may run for state representative against Eddie the Gerbil Jackson. You'll never hear me promise that I'm going to lower taxes. These bastards, they're going to lower taxes, better schools, safer streets. They all say that. But if I'm a state representative and the rest of these state representatives and state senators, they're only one vote. My platform will be, I probably can't get your taxes lowered. I probably can't stop the crime. And I don't think I'll be able to lower your taxes because I'm going to be nothing but one vote. But what I would promise, if I decide to run, that I'll go to Springfield and I'll stir up so much crap, they'll wish they'd have done it the right way years back. You can't promise people things that you can't deliver, but these politicians always promise. Amika Jackson, going to be all these jobs. Curtis McCall, Jr. and Sr., when he got elected, all these jobs. There's 4 or 5 or 6 jobs that they promised to 500 people. And a lot of you people down in East St. Louis, below the hill, and even in Belleville, you've witnessed that. They've promised you something, but when it's all said and done, you get nothing. Down in East St. Louis, you remember Amika Topeka Jackson Hicks, the lady that I give about $30,000, $35,000 to? Again, she didn't put a gun to my head. I sat down and talked with her. She's going to get rid of the corruption. Not going to be business as usual. It's going to be about the people, not about the politicians. Now, this ignorant bitch last week, and I don't know this gentleman, Sam Swanson, but he is a Democratic precinct committeeman. You heard me last week say he got a promotion. He worked for the Public Works Department in East St. Louis. He was one of the 6 laborers, I believe, and they had 1 supervisor. Now, Sam Swanson, who is a Democratic committeeman, he has 2 or 3 years experience, a lot less than some of the other guys, but they promoted him to supervisor after 2 years. Now there's 2 supervisors and 5 employees instead of 1 supervisor and 6 employees. You know where I'm coming from. They promoted Sam Swanson because they're circling the wagons. They want to get all their precinct committeemen taken care of, so the precinct committeemen down in East St. Louis are obligated to them. And then Amika Topeka, I stink like a crap. I can't even remember the bitch's name, but I'm going to call her a bitch, not a hoe. I'm not going to call her a hoe like some of them do down in East St. Louis. I'm going to call her a bitch. I'm going to respect her. They fired the chief of police down there yesterday, and they put and appointed Felix Arnold. He's the ex-K-9 officer, and I don't know Felix Arnold very well, and I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's got limited police experience. Why would they put someone, and again, not talking bad about him, why would they put someone with limited police experience in a position, a chief of police, in a crime-torn city like East St. Louis? Appears to me that they'd get somebody with 20, 30 years, get somebody that's been out there in the streets, have been all through our law enforcement positions. Get someone with that much experience because that's what the good people of East St. Louis deserve. But Felix Arnold is the new chief of police. And guess what? Just guess what? Felix Arnold is also a Democratic precinct committeeman in East St. Louis. You people hear me? He's a Democratic committeeman in East St. Louis. What does that tell you? This bitch is worse than the boy bitch, Alvin Parks. There's no difference other than Amika's wearing a dress. Well, maybe Parks wore a dress sometime. I don't know, but that's his business. But actually, it's worse. Chief Fleury did a great job. And guess what? He was a professional police officer. He wasn't a politician. But now we're getting a chief of police in East St. Louis, just who happens to be a precinct committeeman. And then Charlie Powell Jr., you heard me last week. I broke that story, They tell me that this Karen Brown, they kind of forced her into retirement so they could hire Charlie Powell Jr., the son of Charlie Powell Sr. You know old Charlie Powell Sr.? Charlie Powell Jr. is now the assistant city clerk, and they're grooming him, I guarantee you, to be the city clerk. When a great lady, Doreen Hoosman, when she retires, she's been around a while. But now, Charlie Powell's son, he was for Alvin Parks. They were against Amika Jackson. I just wonder, why would Amika Jackson hire Charlie Powell's son? Is it because Charlie Powell's daddy, Charlie Powell Sr., is a powerful precinct committeeman in East St. Louis? I think that's the reason. And I also hear that the new chief is personally hooked up with Roy Mosley, the Mosley boys, and Alonzo Greenwood with their connection. Now, Alonzo Greenwood was 100% for Alvin Parks and against Amika Jackson. You can see what's going on. Do that flow chart. Amika is surrounding herself with all of Parks' people so she can get their support. Now, why would she run if she agreed with everything Alonzo Greenwood and Parks did? She's going to have them running the show. She's going to have Greenwood's guy as the chief of police. She's going to have Charlie Powell's guy, the two biggest supporters of Alvin Parks. Charlie Powell's son is the assistant city clerk. What the hell? Then they tell me that Roy Mosley Jr., let's get him in the mix. Roy Mosley Jr., son of Roy Mosley Sr., who was against Amika Hicks when she ran for mayor. Now, all of a sudden, after the election, Roy Mosley Jr., who I believe is a committeeman, and I know Roy Mosley Sr. is politically strong in East St. Louis, he gets taken out of the position he was in with an old beat-up truck. Now Roy Mosley Jr. works for the TIF in East St. Louis and driving around a brand-new Ford. That's Roy Mosley Jr., who was supporting Alvin Parks for mayor. What is that? And I believe Roy Mosley Jr. is also a county board member. Do you see the political inbreeding here, people? Not just in East St. Louis, but all over St. Clair County. It happens all the time. If you can get or steal or whatever way get these rotten bastard political bastards some votes, they're going to do something for you. But if you're the vast majority that get these bastards elected, you get nothing. So remember that, people, in 2016. I can't preach that enough. Then they tell me, and I don't know this gentleman, Todd Fulton. They're going to disband the Internal Affairs Department down there. And Todd Fulton, probably a very professional officer, originally from East St. Louis, I was told, he's going to be the new public safety director, I guess at about $75,000, $80,000 a year. I don't know where all these new positions, where they're going to get the money. But Todd Fulton is going to be the new public safety director, and he's going to take over the internal affairs. It appears to me that why wouldn't you make Todd Fulton the chief? Oh, see his resume here. He's not a Democratic precinct committeeman. And then last but not least, I hope you're still following me. And for that Amika Jackson Hicks, that bitch, to say that it's not going to be business as usual, again, I want to apologize. I said it would be, but it's not. It's worse. It's worse than business as usual. But I don't think Amika Jackson's, I don't think she's intelligent enough politically, or maybe just not intelligent at all, to make these strong political moves. And you don't want to make political moves when you're trying to help your city. You want to make positive moves. You want to keep politics out. You want to get the best person for the job. But apparently Amika is following the advice of her daddy, Eddie the Gerbil Jackson. And don't forget the Senator Foghorn, I say Buckwheat Claiborne, who got right at $1 million of the poor people's money in East St. Louis. Right at $1 million, people, you hear me? And he's your state senator, and he makes another $100,000 for being your state senator, living in a $400,000 house at 109 Hickory Lane in Belleville, driving a new black Cadillac, got his girlfriend a nice job with the state, and I believe there's going to be problems with that situation. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And you people down there are barely making it. But I hope you understand. I hope you understand what's going on down there, because it's not right. It's not right for the good people of East St. Louis. It's not right for the good people of St. Clair County to have to put up with this political inbreeding. And it just doesn't happen down in East St. Louis in the black community. It's more egregious up here in St. Clair County. And I think people are starting to understand that. I think they listen to me. They're starting to understand that it's not a good situation. And we have control of our destiny. And in 2016, we can make that proper turn, go another direction, and I believe everybody will benefit. Before we go to break, I see over here Missouri County lowers flag over marriage decision. I'm going to try to get a hold of them. I called, didn't get an answer. Dent County, wherever the hell Dent County is, the commission voted to observe 1 year of mourning because of same-sex marriages. It says it will come in the form of lowering the flag at the Dent County Courthouse and the Judicial Building to below half staff on the 26th of each month for a year, running from June to July because of same-sex marriages. Now, I got to say, you inbred bastards, whoever started that, and we're trying to get Dent County commissioners, why don't you lower the flag every day for every military hero? There's one military hero that dies every day, at least one that dies every day. Let's lower the flag for a military hero. Not because you ignorant bitches there, both men and women. Not because you care about same-sex marriages. You homophobic bastards. Why do you care? If two guys want to live together and get married, two women, what the hell? You're not their moral keeper. You're not my moral keeper. That's the problem, people. People want to live their lives, and they want to live your lives. But it's just a symbolic gesture. It pisses me off. That flag in Dent County, I bet you it wasn't lowered last week. And I guarantee you somebody in Dent County was a military hero and died every week of last year in Dent County, Missouri. I'll bet you the flag wasn't lowered for them, but they're going to lower it, and they're going to manipulate Old Glory because they don't like same-sex marriages. So that's going to be their way of mourning. I think you guys, the Dent County commissioners, and I'm going to call and let you have a piece of my mind, you ignorant bastards. You better get away from the sheep down there. See, that's what happens when you have sex with sheep. Bastards like these guys in Dent County are produced. You don't lower the flag. That's a show of respect when you lower that flag. You don't lower that flag because you're pissed off about same-sex marriages. You rotten bastards in Dent County, Missouri. Hey, you can all kiss my white, hairy, stinky, wrinkled ass. It's not right. Lower that flag out of respect and memory for our fallen heroes, for people in public life that have done good, not have done bad. That's what you save that lowering of the flag. You don't lower it because you stupid commissioners in Dent County, Missouri are pissed off about same-sex marriages. Why would you care? Why would you care other than your son's gay or your daughter's a lesbian, a closet lesbian or closet gay? Other than that, why do you people care what the hell two consenting adults do in their lives, do in their house, do in their bed? And I don't give a damn about the religious side of it. Let people live their lives, and you live yours. Don't try to interfere with their lives, because when you do that, you don't take enough time to live your life properly. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of Radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio at its finest, and we are, as always, proud to be the Patriot.
From KQQZ 1190 AM, St. Louis, Missouri, USA, you're listening to Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of Radio.
This is Bob Romanik, the Grim Reaper of Radio, and you're listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio, and we are, as always, proud to be the Patriot. Before we get off of East St. Louis, I got to say they've allotted $85,000, I believe, for a public relations director's job. And I got to ask, Mr. Ray Coleman, are you hovering around for that position? Ray, you got my telephone number. Give me a call. I've tried to call him. He's ducking me. And remember what they always say, if they're ducking you, they're... And you know what I'm talking about, don't you? Well, hell yes, you do. So, Ray Coleman, someone said that you're doing everything and anything to try to get that public relations job. And I don't know if it's true, but I'd like to talk to you about it. Give me a call, will you, Ray? 394-1190. Ray Coleman, Washington Park. Whatever your title is out there, buddy, please give me a call. Want to talk to you. And always remember, if they're ducking you, you know what they're doing to you. Hey, this family strip club situation. This man was ran over in 2009. Here it is 6-7 years later. Nothing has been done. There's been 10s and 20s and 30s of continuances on this case. This case, Reggie Allen, I don't know. I met the gentleman once, don't know him. And as always, people are innocent until proven guilty. But you got to know, Brendan Kelly, what the hell were you thinking? This gentleman allegedly ran over, well, he did, but he's saying whatever he's saying, so I'll just say allegedly ran over this black kid back in 2009, and it still hasn't come to trial. And then his attorney, Mr. Allen's attorney, says there's situations that need to be resolved. What are you talking about? Situations that need to be resolved. Hell, it's been going on 7 years. Now, on the civil side of that situation, where he allegedly ran over this young black man, that they settled out of court, him and his attorneys, for over $750,000 on behalf of the minor sons of Rice, this gentleman that was run over. So that's got to tell you something. But Kelly keeps a large photograph of Rice on display in his office, in a spot where he can see it when he looks up while sitting in his desk. Come on, Kelly. You don't need to be that dramatic. And then Allen's attorney, Tom Daly, there are preliminary matters that need to be resolved. Hell, preliminary matters, it's going on 7 years. But the most egregious part of this whole thing, this gentleman, after he got charged with vehicular homicide, I believe that was the charge, he was charged, again, I believe, with some kind of mob action. And Chief Judge John read on the noodle like a pecker on a poodle, didn't revoke his bond. Didn't even make him post another bond. They continued with the same bond. Now, if it was me or you, I had to bond out. They mess with me. You understand, people? This gentleman allegedly ran over a guy, and he's being charged going on 7 years, had continuance after continuance after continuance. And then he gets charged again, and I'm trying to get all this information. Let's see. Since being charged with reckless homicide and while out on $100,000 bond, Allen was charged in January with mob action. The arrest was in connection with the alleged assault of a woman who works as a stripper at Miss Kitty's in 2012. The woman said Allen allegedly dragged her into a restroom and beat her while allowing other people to also physically assault her. The mob action charge was filed just before the statute of limitation run out. And guess what? John read on the noodle like a pecker on the poodle, didn't revoke. Now, this man had already been in prison for allegedly running over a guy on a motorcycle and having some kind of drug charge. They dismissed the charge of him running over a guy. This was a few years back. They knew about his past history. But John read on the noodle like a pecker on a poodle, the ignorant bastard that's up for re-election in 2016. If that had been his family member that got ran over, that got the hell beat out, I'll bet you the bond would have been revoked. If it had been one of his political buddies, I'll bet you the bond would have been revoked. But Barra Civic did not even charge him with any more financial obligation. They let him out on the same bond. I ask, Barasivic, you ignorant, stupid son of a bitch, and I hope the people remember you in 2016. I'm not going to let them forget about that situation 30 years ago when you were the state's attorney and you let Jim McCrary off with 2 years probation when he gunned down a guy, stood up on the roof and gunned down a guy, only because Jim McCrary was Francis Touche's nephew, a big power broker. That's going to be, we're going to have that all out for publication, Barasivic. We're going to remind people, and I don't give a damn if it happened 30 years ago. You were wrong, real wrong, and now you're wrong on this. How the hell can you let a gentleman out that's had a violent past, it's on charges for vehicular homicide, and then he gets charged with allegedly beating the hell out of a lady, and you're not going to revoke his bond? Why aren't you going to revoke his bond? And I was told that at the time that he was charged with vehicular homicide, that there was charges pending, and this is alleged at this time, we don't have the information, but I believe it to be true, that there were charges in Missouri and Florida, criminal charges on this gentleman. That just goes to show you, people, these politicians, they don't give a damn about your safety, my safety, anybody's safety, unless it's their friends and their family. But how egregious is this? And now Barasivic wants his son, blowjob B.J. Barasivic, wants him to be our congressman. He's pushing him to be the congressman. Come on, Barasivic. One Barasivic is more than one too many in St. Clair County. Now you want your son blowjob Barasivic? What the hell is wrong with our judicial system that is led by Chief Judge John Red on the Noodle like a pecker on a poodle Barasivic? People understand me. People understand me. Barasivic could have revoked this gentleman's bond. Not only did he not revoke his bond, he charged him no more. He could have said, well, it's another $100,000. That shows you how they play politics in St. Clair County. And you ought to see the continuances. You can go to the website, St. Clair County website, go to the circuit clerk and type in Reginald Allen. You can find out all the continuances, 7 years, and still haven't faced charges, and then be charged again with a violent act and not have the bond revoked. What does that tell you, people? That tells you two things. You're not going to get a fair shake in St. Clair County. You're not going to get a fair shake in St. Clair County unless you're politically hooked up. And the second thing is, Chief Judge John Red on the Noodle like a pecker on the poodle Barasivic, he needs to go. He'll never call and defend himself because he has nothing to defend. Barasivic, give me a call. You call a newspaper, you talk to people when you want to. We're calling you out, Barasivic. You were totally wrong on this one. You were totally wrong on the Jim McCrary case 30 years ago. That's going to come back to haunt you. And I believe this, at the end of the day, the actions by you, Chief Judge John Red on the Noodle like a pecker on a poodle Barasivic, I think you'll find out that this is going to backfire. The good people of the 20th Judicial Circuit, they're tired of your crap, and I don't think they're going to put up with it much longer. This is Bob Romanik. The Grim Reaper of radio, and you've been listening to the all-new KQQZ 1190 AM, America's bi-state voice of freedom, radical radio. And we are, as always, proud, very proud to be the Patriot. Come on back tomorrow, same time, same place. You know the routine. We'll continue in our quest for justice, for not for them. Remember, justice for all, and that's all of us, not the few of them. We'll continue to expose these rotten bastards day in and day out, and hopefully you good people in the listening audience understand now what's going on. We have finally exposed them. We have taken the cover off these rotten bastards. We have taken the lid off the jar, this stinky jar, and you can smell the bad smell, the smell of crap, the smell of corruption. Nothing worse. The smell of corruption is worse than the smell of death, because death is over. corruption continues on and on and on. So let's continue to come together, people. Let's continue to work together so we can unite, expose, drag these son of a bitches all over. Let everyone know. Shout from the highest rooftops about this culture of corruption, not just in St. Clair County, but throughout this great state, throughout this great country. Continue to drag these bastards recklessly as they run our country recklessly over the political coals of hell. And at the end of the day, and hopefully that day is coming in 2016, we will all unite, men, women, black, white, Democrats, Republicans, independents, to destroy this culture of corruption that is attempting to destroy us. Destroy them politically, of course, right here on the dark side.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time. And I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha.
The Patriot.
Your First Amendment and All-American Station. A division of Insane Broadcasting. Renegade Radio.
KQQZ, St. Louis.